Pokemon just released the final trailer for the DLC for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and I honestly could not be more excited for it. I've probably watched this trailer about 10 to 15 times at this point. There are so many things that are in this trailer that are so easy to miss. So I figured I'd break it down and show you guys a couple of things that you may or may not have noticed in the trailer. So with that, let's get started. So our first shot, of course, is of Area 0, where we're actually going in it. The interesting thing is we actually go below where we previously have been in Area 0 to it looks like an underground chasm. The other interesting thing here is we actually see this tree. Now, this isn't the first time Pokemon has used a tree in any type of like lore, as we saw the tree also in Kalos, symbolizing life/death depending on if you played X or Y. Of course, the trailer showing off stuff from the Teal Mask, not anything really too important there, but we do get shots of Kieran, which is a huge focus in this trailer later on. And we finally get the introduction to Cyrano. He's the first actual Blueberry Academy portion of the trailer. We get our first shot of Totodile and another picture of the blackboard that we saw earlier in one of the previous trailers. Of course, you see Totodile because all the starters are back. Minchino's nice. It looks like there's weather conditions specifically within the area that they're looking at. This map, though, in the back there, actually doesn't look like the map for Blueberry Academy. The Geodude, I believe, is going to indicate the hordes that are showing up, or mass outbreaks. Of course, you know, there's also a mass outbreak, it looks like, of maybe Mamoswine happening, and that's why the arrow's up there. Just something to note here. Of course, you get to see some of the students, and it looks like we get to see Carbine, which she looks like she's got a Toucannon now, but she does still have her Mightyena. I would have to take a guess that this happens pretty early on in the Blueberry Academy. And of course, one interesting thing to note is Dipplin is here. So for those that don't know Dipplin, there is a rumor that because Dipplin can use Eevee a lot, that it's going to have an evolution. So that's something to keep in mind. Very interesting we're seeing the player character use Dipplin here. Interesting callback is Joltik and Galvantula here looking in this electric cave. It brings me back Chargestone Caves vibes. And of course, you get to see the terrarium in kind of a vast thing. You get to see Lacey talking about barbecues, or BBQs for short. These are quest systems. You're going to be able to do them. They'll factor into some stuff later on. The other interesting thing is finding these Ditto blocks, these Dittos. These blocks are actually Dittos. The other interesting thing that I think a lot of people didn't notice is that is a Z pose for a Z move. And I don't believe Z moves are coming back in anything. I'm pretty sure this is just a cameo, but it's something interesting to note. This is something also really unique. It's the where you can actually control the Pokemon. So this is bringing me back Poke Park vibes for sure. But the other thing is it looks like they've perfected Bill's experiment from all the way back in Kanto. Just a nice little callback there, and you're finally able to control the Pokemon. Now, one thing to note is it does look like it's just Pikachu so far in the Pikachu clones. So it's unsure if it's only going to be a set amount of Pokemon that can do this, or you can do this with anything. One important thing here, which is this trade with Iono. So Iono's here, she's wanting to trade, of course, and she ends up trading you a Magnemite. Now, the Magnemite itself is special, and there's a special ribbon that you get with this that's causing this. When you send out the Pokemon that you got from Iono, you can see here it says Go Iono's Magnemite. It allows the actual name of the Pokemon to be actually thrown. The other interesting thing here is the pose that the trainer is using is actually Iono's pose where she throws out her Pokeball. The next thing is this man. He makes snacks for special treats for certain Pokemon. Now, it is believed that this is going to be the way you get legendaries for the static encounters, which we'll go into because it's legendary showing. The one thing that's interesting is the legendaries are all in Paldea now, instead of being in, you know, the DLC area. However, it seems like they might still be locked behind the actual DLC, because if you have to talk to that dude to get the sweets, it does look like these are trials. They talked about that in the previous one. We get a clear shot of all the 4 Elite Four members for the Blueberry League. These fights are apparently supposed to be really tough. I'm very much so looking forward to it. We don't get to see any of their aces, which I thought we would, with the exception of his. We see Magmortar and Executor there. Get a nice picture of the starters. We see Archaludon and Flygon. Really nice to see that back. And then we get the biggest thing ever. So we see this mystery character here, and obviously if you played the first DLC, which you do have to beat the first DLC to access this DLC, this is in fact Kieran, and you can tell he is he's going through his villain arc. Next, of course, we got the starters. All the starters again are coming back, although you can't access them till I believe until later on in the DLC. Something to note. Here's Briar. She's very sus. I expect her to actually be a bad guy for something we see earlier. And now we have the next character that no one actually knows who it is. However, we believe this is Mela from Team Star because of her hair being a similar color. If you actually compare them side by side, they've also got similar like structure wise. The one thing is that I noticed is this hair is lighter instead of darker like Mela is, but that could have just been the shots that I was comparing for the actual comparison. Of course, we see the Raging Bolt back. an Iron Crown. We don't actually see any other of the new Paradox. We don't see the Entei or the Terrakion. We get a nice overhead shot of us flying with Koraidon, confirming that once you do the DLC, at some point you'll be able to fly freely. No more Koraidon and Miraidon flying and dropping like a weight. We get another shot of what is going through. It looks like a crystal chamber, and I'm not entirely sure exactly what we're going through. Of course, this is in Area 0, and I'm assuming this is actually how we get to the underground area we saw the earlier part of the screenshots or the video. Of course, Koraidon and Miraidon look like they are their full fighting forms. And that isn't everything. There's one interesting thing about this picture here. You see Carmine, of course, and you see your player character, and you see Kieran at the other side of it. However, you see Briar there, and Briar looks kinda evil. She looks kinda sus to me. I'll say it. So, those are a couple things. Like I said, I didn't want to make a whole long video about this. It's just, I noticed a couple interesting things, like the whole Mela thing, the Z move dance pose, Briar being very evil. So I wanted to just kind of bring that up to everybody's attention. I'm really excited. The DLC drops in a week. I am playing it Friday, of course, the day after it drops, unfortunately because of work. But I cannot wait to get my hands on it. Everything from this trailer really hyped me up. And of course, if you're also not aware, they are doing a couple events. I'll just say it right now. Darkrai event currently going on here where you get a free Darkrai. You got a Shiny Lucario event where you get a free Shiny Lucario and a Master Ball. There's Terra Raids for the Palkia and Dialga. Some special Outbreak events. And of course, you got your DLC costumes that you're able to get now and wear them. So that is everything kind of covered in the DLC. Like I said, there's a whole lot of actual small little Easter eggs just kind of thrown in there that I wanted to bring up to everybody's attention. The trailer itself isn't long. It didn't really show off any new Pokemon, which I'm actually glad for. I was worried that this trailer would show too much. But that's going to do it for this video. Please let me know in the comments below if you guys are excited to play the DLC. I honestly am so excited, and I'm so excited to see how Kieran actually turns out. So, that being said, if you guys don't mind, please like the video, comment, let me know what you guys thought, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.